Hey, this is Nick Croft again with Reactive Studios. Going to be going over accessible content creation, alternate text. As I mentioned a bit in the previous part of the series, images have a feature called the alt text. This provides a text alternative when the image isn't available. This feature is especially important for anybody accessing the page with a screen reader. It also affects search engines and anyone who may not be loading the images. For example, someone with a slow internet connection might disable images to load sites faster. This happens mostly in developing nations, rural communities, and also over cell networks when users are at the edge of a reliable connection. Adding alt text. Working with images and adding alt text is very easy in WordPress. The image above does not have an alt text. To add it, click on the image and use the right toolbar to access the alt text field. Writing alt text. Even though adding alt text is easy, that doesn't mean writing good alt text is easy. In fact, it can be very difficult. There are a few things to keep in mind. Make the text as short as possible while still being useful. Screen readers treat alt text differently, so it is usually impossible to navigate. If the text needs a longer explanation, use the caption field. That will be better for all users anyway. If you use the caption field for longer descriptions, indicate that in the alt text. For example, reactive team photo description in the caption. The alt text should describe the purpose of the image, not the image itself. If you have a picture of a sunset over the beach because you're describing the sunset of a project, don't write, "The sun sets beautifully over the waves with hues of red, orange, and gold." That doesn't matter for this use. Instead, say something like, "All days come to an end." This shows the sun setting over the project. It's okay to be poetic if that's the purpose, but describe the purpose, not the image. End with a period or other hard stop. In some contexts, the image alt text is read in line, which means the screen reader can run right into the next sentence. That's a bad user experience. Don't just fill your alt text with keywords. Real people are reading this, not search engines. If the image is a link, describe the link in a clear and meaningful way. If the image is purely decorative, leave the alt text empty. While this should be an exception, it is better to have no alt text than decorative image or something like that. Do not include the words image, picture, etc. in the alt text. Example, image of A. The screen reader will announce it as an image, so the redundancy is frustrating for users. One last thing. When possible, avoid representing text with images. It's acceptable for logos, but for most things, it's best if the real text is on the page. For one thing, the real text is suited for crawling, copying, and screen readers. It also helps when users are using high contrast mode in Windows. If there's a reason you need to use an image to represent the text, the alt text should indicate the text. For example, if you're sharing a logo, then the text might be logo of company A. Another case where clients have used images with real text is in a flyer or brochure. Assuming there's a PDF of the content that is acceptable, a great solution would be to upload the PDF and link the image of the content to the PDF with the link text such as download PDF of super amazing product brochure. This will allow all users access to higher resolution and accessible content. Now let's look at some things that we can do to fix that image. First, I'm going to click on the image. Now I'm going to click in the text field, alt text, alternative text. I'm going to describe my image, and this is a phone, so I'm going to say old-fashioned telephone. But I want to provide some additional information about this. So I'm going to include the text description in the caption. That way, screen reader users will get a description of this image, but we're going to provide additional information that will be available for all users in my caption. So I'm going to describe my purpose of this image. Just like technology advanced with phones, don't be left behind using old tools with your customers. Find the best way to communicate with all users. And so I'm describing this phone as something that's old and dated. If this was your entire back end where people are calling in, you might not be able to handle those calls effectively. Modern technology allows you to do that much more effectively. Using alternate text allows you to communicate with all of your users much more effectively, which is what we just did with this phone. We provided a description of the image. It's an old-fashioned telephone, and we said that there's an additional description in the caption which allows screen reader users to now navigate to the caption of this image and find out more about why this was used, but it also exposes that idea to our sighted users so people don't have to guess why we picked this image. Join us next time as we talk about media.